But yeah, what have you been consuming? Tell me.
Yeah, so obviously we made history this week, all of us Marvel fans, with bringing back a very beloved show of Daredevil, or the Daredevil Netflix universe. I guess technically the whole thing's been revived, but we all
Yeah,
made history, and we were able to bring the show back. So in preparation for Daredevil Born Again, I sat down and rewatched the entirety of Daredevil seasons 1 through 3, The Defenders, and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist season 1. Before you say anything, yes, I did sit through Iron Fist season 1 again. It was not fun. I'll talk
and
about that in a
and
bit.
and and I'll preface this. I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I am ashamed to admit it is like the only things the Netflix universe as a whole that I have not completed. I have watched basically season one of Daredevil, and that's it. I'll let you get back to it. I just wanted to preface that with my knowledge, which
Right,
is another reason why we're not going to get super big into spoilers,
right,
even
right,
for
right.
previous seasons.
Mhm.
But yeah, take it away.
Yeah, so just for context for me, Daredevil is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. It was also one of the first rated R shows or TVMA shows that I ever watched. It was that and Walking Dead. Like one's completely different from the other.
Yeah.
one, one
Both funny enough, based on comic books.
yes, one based on comic books, but one of them specifically about a zombie apocalypse, the other about a blind lawyer superhero. Very different
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
um but I have had a very big emotional attachment to that world and those characters because of that. And I do also remember watching on TV when I was a kid, watching the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I didn't necessarily grow up with that as much as I did X-Men, but
Mhm.
I unfortunately did partake in watching the Daredevil movie.
Did you watch the Elektra
um,
movie? I have not watched the Daredevil movie because I'm a Marvel fan who appreciates his time.
I'm looking for it. I have it on DVD somewhere in here. Hold on.
Oh my
Whatever.
god.
I have
So
so
the answer
much
is
stuff.
yes.
Yes, I have. Um, Funny enough, I only have Elektra. I don't have Daredevil on DVD.
Oh,
But with that
okay.
being said, in preparation for Daredevil Born Again, which was probably my most anticipated thing of this year, maybe the only other thing rivaling it is Fantastic Four, maybe. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I sat down and I watched through the whole thing, probably what was probably 2 months. I didn't want to watch anything that took place after Daredevil. Like I didn't watch Jessica Jones season 2 or Luke Cage or Iron Fist. I even didn't watch the Punisher's in the show. I didn't end up watching Punisher, not because I didn't like
Hmm.
Punisher. I just was like, yeah, I'm
Didn't
okay.
feel needed.
I didn't feel needed. It's a Daredevil show. Punisher's in it. That's fine. Um, but with that being said, Daredevil, my first, so watching that show for the first time kind of was like one of the first shows that opened up my mind as far as like, oh, this is what good television is. You know, when we're younger and we're kids and we're 11 or 10 years old, we think Good Luck Charlie's a masterpiece, or I think
Hey,
more.
don't go shitting on Good Luck Charlie.
I freaking love Good Luck Charlie. I don't talk anything bad about it. Uh, or I think more commonly for something like Lab Rats, we think, oh yeah, that's the peak. You know,
Yeah.
I
No, that's peak. That's peak right there.
I loved Lab
But
Rats a
no.
lot.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Daredevil was mature and it felt grown up, and it was the first thing that I ever watched that made me think. That's the best way to say it. It made me think. It's the first show that had deep character motivations and deep adult thinking, and so that's why like that was like such a big part of like my transition into like me being like a big mafia film person. Uh,
Hmm.
with how deep thought provoking those films are. Um, for those that don't know, because I probably should preface this, you probably know who Daredevil is, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Daredevil is a blind lawyer by day, and by night he is a superhero who uses echolocation and a certain type of martial arts to take out all of his enemies. Or as my dad calls it, stupid.
Your dad's a character himself.
Oh, dude, I love my father. Oh, he's so funny. Um, and so by day he works at a law firm called Nelson and Murdoch. They mostly are little, more run down. They don't really have that many clients. And he works with his friends Karen Page and Foggy Nelson. But yeah, that's a pretty much a quick rundown of it. I think the biggest thing that Daredevil has going for it, though, and I will say this till the day I die. I even say it with Born Again from the 2 episodes that I've watched of it. It's the writing. Like each character, like, there's not one line in this show that I feel like isn't needed or is just there because they need to fill some time and whatnot. Every line is intentional. Every piece of dialogue is intentional, and it's so well written that you are immediately immersed and sucked into this world. And it's not even just it's not even just the same thing for like the main characters. The minor characters all too have deep, thought-provoking scenes and dialogue and writing that inch the story along, and that's part of why you are encapsulated in this world and in this universe. Charlie Cox is just phenomenal as Daredevil. I'm so happy they brought him back. The unique thing about
Imagine they didn't.
Oh,
Imagine they
dude.
tried to pretend it was Charlie Cox. Everyone else is the same. They just or Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. They just switch one of them out. Never acknowledge it.
I would lose my mind, and I would probably drop Marvel off in that moment. I genuinely would. That would have been the
Charlie Cox
mistake.
He was in She-Hulk, and he was in he voiced Daredevil in the Spider-Man
right.
The new TV series that I'm blanking on the name for some reason.
Friendly
Neighborhood Spider-Man. He voiced Daredevil in like an episode in a line in
right.
in that show. So yeah, he
like
loves
a few
Daredevil,
lines, but he voiced him. Right.
Yeah.
But the unique thing about him as an actor, and I haven't seen much of his other work outside of Daredevil, but like he is just so naturally gifted at being able to connect with a scene partner without being able to look at them. So for context, my main professional job is I'm an actor. So I've done a lot of work and whatnot to harness my craft to become a better actor myself. And that's something that just impresses me because I don't know how he does it. Like try holding a conversation.
He actually blindfold himself, like he actually cannot see, right, when he's filming.
I think for certain scenes he does, but like I'm referring to like when he just has the glasses on and he's just Matt Murdock just talking with somebody. It's so incredible because I don't understand how he does it. Like imagine having a conversation with me and just not looking at me, but you are actually like looking, like you can actually see.
Yeah, you have to actually face you without like knowing that you're there. Yeah.
It's such a fascination to me. I don't know how he does it, but I friggin' love it. And he's so good in that role. And he puts so much passion behind it. It really does come through on screen, and you see his love for the character too, because he also is a big fan of it too. And then let's talk about the king or kingpin of the show, Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. My God, dude, so Vincent D'Onofrio, I've seen him in 2 other projects, Full Metal Jacket and Jurassic World, in which he ironically in Jurassic World he also played the bad guy, but it's so different than what he does in Daredevil. Like even his voice, like it's up here, it's higher, and he talks more like down here in like a lower register, really being a big bold boss kingpin. I don't know, that's my horrible impression of Kingpin, by the way. Apologies to all viewers.
Not terrible, not terrible, not terrible.
But it's so different than anything he's ever done, and he's so menacing. Like he walks
Mhm.
into a room and you feel the villainous presence of this character, and it's so his character is written in such a way that it's because of his intellect. Like they write him to be this very intellectual character. And so in every scene, you see him one-upping another person in the scene, or you see him outwit another person in the scene just through dialogue. And it is incredible. One of my favorite scenes with him, strangely enough, and it's such a small scene, but it's him making breakfast in the morning. This is in season 1. I think it's episode 8, but he's making breakfast in the
Mhm.
morning. It's got classical music in the background, and he's just getting ready for the day. But you notice throughout the entire scene the little uh, subtext, context clues that are like implanted in the scene purposefully to pretty much show you, like, yeah, he's a normal guy, but also like, look at that, he is not an okay person. There's like
Yeah.
minor things.
Yeah.
And I just think
Yeah.
that that's such clever storytelling and clever writing to bring uh, something like that to life. And so Vincent D'Onofrio is he's so good in it, and I'm really upset he was never nominated for like an Emmy or a Golden Globe for this performance, because he really is
Oh yeah,
phenomenal.
Marvel actors are always slept on.
Um, Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Wool as Foggy, and Karen Page. Uh, they are the heart and soul of Daredevil. I think that's always
Mhm.
been a truth and a statement. Like that, they are the characters that keep that show grounded and keep it real, which I think is very hard to do in
Yeah.
a superhero project. And
The
so that's why I
human
really,
element to it.
yes, yes, the
Yeah.
human elements. And that's why I very much appreciate their presence being in this show. And they're also both very interesting characters. Karen is, the further you get along, I don't actually know where you're even at in Daredevil. But
I don't
her,
remember, admittedly.
yeah, fair enough.
Like I said, I think
Yeah,
the seasons are short, so I think I'm over halfway through season 1. And there's only what, 3 seasons, right? Because this is technically
3 seasons
season 4.
technically.
Yeah.
Or Born Again is technically season 4.
Yeah, Born Again is like season 4, but kind of like just its own thing, but like not like yeah.
Right. But as I said, Karen Page has a very interesting character arc throughout the entirety of season 1. Um, Foggy also has an arc. It's good, but he's really there. He's like the comic relief character mixed with a lot of heart, which I also do think is sometimes really hard to do with a character. Is how do we make this character the comic relief, but also give him a purpose that brings a lot of emotion and a lot of heart
Yeah.
um, to this story. It's really, really hard to do that. And so I really appreciate them doing that. But they're both phenomenal characters. In season 1 specific, Ben Urich is a great character. He has a phenomenal arc. He's a journalist writer for the Bulletin. He's a really good character. I mean, they did a lot right with it. And again, the writing is just phenomenal. But oh my god, dude, holy shit, the fight scenes, man. The the fight scenes are so well choreographed. Like
Mhm.
I Born Again's only had 2 episodes. And the thing that
Yeah.
I was concerned again about Daredevil Born Again, the thing I was concerned with was how well are they going to be able to pull off these fight scenes? Because they had wonderful one takes of practical effects of Matt Murdock. He's not even in his Daredevil outfit yet, just beating the ever loving crap out of people, and it's so well choreographed and so well shot that I don't think there's any other superhero fight scene that honestly rivals it. I really don't. I would say the one exception is probably the anything Wolverine does. You know, I'm a Wolverine fan, so I'm always going to take Wolverine over everything else.
Mhm.
But I I don't know, man. It was my biggest fear with Born Again, because they just did such a well job, a really really great job with making those fight scenes very intentional and also very very badass. Um,
Yeah.
and then this it kind of goes hand in hand with the cinematography of the show, the colors they use in each scene, or the way a scene is shot. to show a character's emotional state. They do a really good job with that. And yeah, I don't know who the cinematographer is. I was trying to look that up earlier because I wanted to talk about him a little bit, but he does such a great job with bringing the cinematography to life for that show. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, I watched the other shows. I watched Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I liked Jessica Jones season 1. I thought it was great. There was actually a while I thought it might have been better than anything Daredevil ever did. And then I realized that's just my love for David Tennant. he's in Jessica Jones.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard Jessica Jones is actually like not. I don't know if it's better than Daredevil or at least on par, but I've heard it's one of the better ones for sure. I think it's Daredevil, better. Punisher, and Jessica Jones are like the top 3.
Yeah. It's at least better than Jessica Jones season 1 is at least better than potentially better than some of the seasons of Daredevil. I give it that. It's that show in and of itself just has a really clever story, and then David Tennant as the villain, as Kilgrave, who's basically a villain who basically could say, "Hey, young man, kill yourself," and they'll just do it. Like it's so well done. And they did such a good job crafting that story that it genuinely it rivals Daredevil. Luke Cage is also fun. I enjoyed Luke Cage. It's not as good as I think Jessica Jones or Daredevil. I think the first season, like its first half, was pretty good, and then it kind of fell off about halfway through the show. I won't spoil where, but there was a very specific moment when I went, "Okay, where do we go from here?" And then it just doesn't. I'm like, "Oh, welp, I don't know what to do anymore." But it's good. It's worth a watch. And then we get to Iron Fist, which is
I'm excited. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch. We have another show that I forgot to talk about that I am watching right now. We'll talk about that because I know you also watched it. So we'll talk about Invincible after you're done with this. But I have too many things that I'm watching and consuming right now. But I do want to get back, and that is one that I'm so curious what my thoughts are going to be on, just because I know it is like universally like shit on all the time.
It's okay. It's not all bad. I can't honestly sit there and say it's all bad. Like Colleen Wing's character is a very good character, and they wrote her very well. The issue is Danny Rand's character is not written very well and is not good. And he's the lead of the show. And I told
that typically hurts. That typically hurts your show a little bit.
I told one of our friends this like a week ago whenever I finished it. And I went, you know what's really sad is that Iron Fist of all the characters, maybe not Daredevil, but of all the characters, Iron Fist is probably the more popular of the 4 Defenders. And he is the weakest character of the entire show. It just boggles my mind how bad they messed that up. It is mostly just a writing thing. That's where they screwed everything up a lot, was just in how they chose to write the dialogue for certain characters. And so that's my biggest problem with Iron Fist. At the end of the day, I'll watch it if I'm rewatching the entire Netflix universe, but I would really rather skip it. I'm never just going to, like Daredevil, I'm never just going to start watching it from the beginning and go through. Just as a show on its own, it's not very enticing enough for me to do that. But then lastly, the Defenders, which is the Avengers team up or the Justice League team up of the Netflix Marvel universe, and
just not as world ending.
not as well. Well, kinda.
That interesting. I mean, I don't spoil it because I want to watch it. But interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
It's kind of world ending, kind of not. And that's honestly my biggest problem with the Defenders. As much as I love that show and I love seeing all of them together, the plot of like what the villain's overall goal, I'm like, you don't need it to be that. It doesn't have to be world ending. Like you're facing off against a blind guy with echolocation and a guy who's basically invincible.
Yeah.
Make it street level. You don't have to, and it kind of is in some regard, but it's also not in another way. That's the confusing thing.
It's Marvel. They got to make it big. They got to make too big a stakes.
Well,
we can talk about that. We can talk about that more when we talk about our state of the overall Marvel universe. Because I think that's an interesting kind of thought process is, I guess, have the stakes gotten too high? Are they like screwing it up? Like that type of
Right.
thing. But yeah,
Right.
we'll save that for a little bit later on in the podcast.
But Defenders in and of itself, as just as a whole, like I enjoy it because I enjoy seeing all these characters interact. I enjoy seeing all the storylines come together. I don't think there's necessarily like this big emotional arc. I don't think, honestly, I don't even really think there's an arc for a lot of these characters beyond the, like, for a team up movie, you would think they're all on one goal, they're all on one mission, and they're not. They're all on their own goals. They just happen to be together. And that's kind of that's my biggest thing, is like I didn't feel the sense of they needed to come together because they need to stop this. No, we are all going after our own goals. And it just happens that
Yeah.
we're all together. Which I don't know. Like that idea makes sense. It was just the execution of how they did it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't hate Defenders. I don't have anything bad to say really about it, but that is definitely one of those shows.
One of the
I'm like,
weaker.
yeah. But yeah. But with that being said,